Hi, I'm Tanya, and I wanted to share with you a little video to give you one of my favorite tools, one of my favorite ways to play with Young Living essential oils. And it includes valor and joy. And I'll tell you what, if you don't have valor and joy already, you can choose other Young Living oils, but these two oils I kind of think of as my gateway oils. Some of you already know my story that when I first met Tama, soon after we met, my grandmother passed away. And, you know, as per the norm, I was in quite a bit of grief. And Tama came over and offered me a drop of each of these oils. And when he came by, you know, I had been kind of 3 days not really eating, not really getting out of my bed. And I noticed that when he put the oils on me, almost immediately, I was hungry. It wasn't like my grief was gone. It wasn't like everything in the world was better, but there was a shift in me where I went from having no interest in food to realizing that my body needed to eat. And that was a huge wake up for me, because it was like, well, if I can change my channel and have a different experience of how I'm feeling, that's very interesting to me. I don't know if anybody watching this has emotions, but for me, the emotional support was absolutely one of the primary reasons I really leaned into Young Living for support. So, joy, I heard a story, fact check me, see if this is true, that when joy was first formulated, Gary called it love. And he ended up changing the name to joy. But my understanding is that joy is, you know, all the different oils are different frequencies. And my understanding is that joy is a frequency of self-love. And I think self-love is something that we could all use a little more of. You imagine how this world might change if everyone had a slightly kinder inner voice, inner dialogue with themselves. So my favorite way to use joy has always been to put it on my heart. But that's not a have to. That's not a one and only place. But I like to just take some joy and slather it on. I learned from another friend that she really loves to run the oil through her hair like this, so that as she's walking throughout the day, there's just kind of this handy diffuser. And as, so there's joy. And remembering to take the time for both the topical application and the inhalation. You know, it takes about 26 seconds for the oils to move through the skin into the bloodstream. But when we breathe the oils, it takes only 3 seconds to move across the brain. So I love doing that combo. Put it on, smell, feel, smell again. And then I hope that you have already learned about your auricular points. They're the ear, the hands, the feet, they're all different maps of the body, right? So we can work with nurturing different parts of the body, whether it's physically on that part of the body or through the ears or other parts. And I had a friend who called me maybe my second year into oiling, and she was one of my first friends to get a starter kit and start the journey with me. And she called me and she was like, oh, kind of like sarcastic, but mad. Like, why didn't you tell me? I'm like, why didn't I tell you what? She's like, about the auricular points. I swear I was totally freaking out the other day. And my husband put these oils on me and on my ears. And it was a huge shift. I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I've never done that. So here's the thing about the oil journey, right? We get to keep learning. We get to keep learning all the time as we go. So up until then, I hadn't done that this much. But sure enough, I looked on my little reference guide app and looked at that map of the auricular points. And there's all kinds of good stuff that we can do on the ears. And so for the sake of channel changing, especially when I'm in a fast-paced day or trying to handle a lot, I really like to access the ears because they're easy to reach. And valor, come on, valor, courage. Valor's a very low frequency oil. When you think about the different energies of the body, right, our bones are on the deepest in, they're the most yin, they're the most internal, while the energy body is that most expansive, different frequencies. And valor has a frequency that matches very similar to the bones. So again, I like to just apply several drops. A beautiful purple. Swirling the hands. I hear our DNA spins clockwise, and when we spin the oils clockwise in the palm, it's a way of activating into the DNA. And then I just like to slather my eardrums. Not my drums. Please never put essential oils inside your ears. Earlobes. And then another thing I like to do with valor is put it on my wrists or the soles of my feet. And then just stack wrists. And my wrists are going to stay like this in my lap just for a couple moments. And again, you know, this body is all energy. We're working with the circuitry. And here's a complete circuit. And I'm aware of some softening of my shoulders, some relaxing across my jaw. So that is your 5-minute reset button. Joy and valor, or any two oils of your choosing, any way you choose. But may that escort you through a joy-inducing and grounding experience. Big love.